To any of you, I guess, Riley, before we get to Michigan Week, I'd like to know about your crazy weekend at hotels and buses.
Yeah. Like you said, it was crazy. We didn't know what was going to happen the entire time. We got to the airport, found out we couldn't take off. So ended up hanging out there for a while. Got back to the hotel pretty late. But then, when Sunday came, we got on the plane. Eventually got out of there. It took a while. There was no rest this weekend for us really, but we're feeling good now.
For Riley and Darien, just wonder what you see from Michigan's rushing attack, and also Jake Rudock. I know a couple of years ago you guys played against him. Does that help at all in this game?
They've definitely gotten back into old-fashioned ball, lining up in pretty heavy sets, running the ball, power, a lot of power. Power lock, things that you see in a lot of old school football. So they've definitely gotten back to that. As far as the quarterback situation, like you said, we played against him a few years ago. He's poised in the pocket, knows what he's doing as a senior, as a fifth-year guy. He's got a real good command on the offense, and he's done a really good job for them.
Yeah, just going on that, believe it or not, they use their fullbacks a lot. They hand the ball, off to them. So that's going to be a little bit different for us. But I think the big thing is just controlling the line of scrimmage. Our D-line is going to play a huge role in this game, like they do every game. But this one more so because, like you said, they get in heavy sets. They try to run the ball at you. So it's going to be important to control the point and just to play fast and play downhill.
Riley, I wanted to ask you. Obviously, your family's always been a Michigan State family, but being a kid from this state, what does this game mean to you personally?
Yeah, growing up. It's kind of crazy in this state, especially for my family. It's not you're a Michigan or you're a Michigan State fan. You literally identify yourself as part of the blue and maize or the green and white. That's your identity. That's your everything. Some people don't really understand that aren't from around here, but I certainly do. I think the guys on our team, start to understand that as they play in this game. So it's important. I think we're just going to lay it down, on the line this week.
Kind of want to ask you about L.J. Scott. How has he kind of grown more comfortable, I guess, for the past couple of weeks? Where's he at right now? Yeah.
Yeah, LJ is getting more and more confident each and every week. Going all the way back to Western, I remember in the end of that game, just handing the ball to him, trying to get the clock out, and just watching him break tackles. And I was kind of shocked, just wow, this kid's a freshman. And he's just going to continue to get better, as the season goes on, as each and every week moves forward. But he's just a good running back, and he's smart. That's something that usually freshman running backs take time to learn the playbook or don't know how to block or don't know who's accounted for. But LJ puts in the time. He puts in the extra hours in the film room. Coach Warner gets him right, being the running backs coach. But he understands the game, and that's what you want, from a guy who's younger. To understand what's going on, and that's what he does. And I think he's going to continue to get better.
Coach D'Antonio just said some of the freshmen asked him what to expect from this week in this rivalry, and he said you kind of just got to go through it first. What do you for any of you guys, I guess, but Connor, what do you say to some of the younger guys who haven't been through this game yet? What the experience is like?
Coach D usually says is you really don't have to say anything about it. As soon as you're out there for warm-ups, you kind of feel it. The attitude, the emotion, there's just something in the air that you get, that you feel playing against Michigan. But it's very intense. There's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of heart that goes into this game, and just starting out in warm-ups, going out there and just feeling it, smelling the air, all that stuff, it kind of runs through your body, runs through your veins, and you kind of just get pumped up more than you would for any other opponent.
Yeah, it's a different feeling. When you first out there, everybody, as soon as you get out there, it's a different type of game. So, once you get out there for your first time, it's a different atmosphere that you feel. So,
Donovan, following up on that, you did get your first career start there, and it was in an injury situation. You had to go in. How much have you changed as a player in going back now, getting your chance to go back there? What does it mean to you?
Yeah, I remember that Thursday before we left on that Friday. Coach stayed before the meeting started. He pulled me out, said, "Hey Donovan, look, you're about to get your first start and everything." So I was a little nervous at first, but at the same time I did what I had to do, and then ever since then I've been able to just develop I'm on and off the field.
Darien, how similar is what Stanford or what Michigan does offensively to what Stanford did in the Rose Bowl? Is it pretty much the same stuff, more or less?
Yeah, it's really similar, and we've looked back at that year and looked at some Stanford film to see how we played against them. But it's really similar what they do. Obviously, Coach Harbaugh coming from Stanford, he's brought a lot of what he did there to Michigan. But they are really similar in what they do. Like I said, old-fashioned football, lining it up, trying to run it down your throat. Like Riley said, actually using fullbacks, which you don't see a lot in this day and age. So it's really similar, and we were successful, obviously, against Stanford. So we're going to go back, look at that film, see what we did in those games, and try to apply it to this week.
And I want to counter as well for the receivers this week. Made some plays for you and some guys that you haven't always had to turn to. How important was that week in terms of moving forward, your confidence in this group, especially when you don't have a full complement in front of you?
Right. Looking back the last couple of weeks, we were kind of run heavy. The weather kind of, allowed for that to happen against Purdue. And then Central Michigan, we wanted to, reestablish the run game that we didn't have against Air Force. So those last couple of weeks were kind of run heavy, didn't really throw it a whole lot. And then finally, for us to, open up the pass game against Rutgers, heading into a game like this, of this magnitude against Michigan, we needed that. For Burb to come out and have another 150 yards through the air. R.J. Shelton coming up big in the last drive. McGarrett King scoring his first touchdown. Paul Lang, who had some very, very clutch catches later in the game against Rutgers. We needed that, especially if we're going into a game like this. So that was crucial. And, like I've said all along the whole season, I think we're just going to continue to get better, and guys are just going to keep emerging and just keep making plays as the season moves on.
Kind of the first thing somebody says about Michigan's success, especially the last few games, is their defense. Jim Harbaugh, the first thing asked about your team yesterday, mentions you and your record, your success here. How much personal pride do you take in taking on a defense that's been so successful that hasn't allowed a point in 3 games?
It's stuff like that's why the reason you come to Michigan State to play against opponents like this, play against teams like Ohio State, who's ranked number 1, to play in big-time bowl games. And when you're a quarterback and you're 6-0 and you're going up against one of your rival teams, playing in their stadium, it's going to be a hostile environment. For how well they've played so far this season, you want to be in a situation like that. You want to embrace it, and it's things you look forward to. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to go out there and play against them. For them to pitch 3 straight shutouts, that's hard to do in college football. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter who you're playing. To shut out the opponent, that's hard to do, and they have a great defense. So, me as a quarterback, us as an offense, us as a team, we're looking forward to going into there and playing against a defense like that. Because you want to play against the best, and you want to play against the top-ranked teams, top-ranked defenses. It's going to be a challenge, but we're looking forward to it.
Following up on that, Connor and Donovan, when you look at their defense, does it remind you of the defense you practice against year-round?
Yeah, a little bit. They got you look at their defense from top to bottom. They're very talented. They have a great front 7. Big, fast defensive linemen who pressure the quarterback, who get in the backfield, make tackles for losses. And they do a little bit more man coverage than they did last year, just with the new D coordinator from Florida. Last year they did a lot of cover 2 and stuff, and 2-man, more zone coverage than man. And looking at the film this year, they do a lot more man coverage, cover 1. So and they lock the guys up on the back end. So their linebackers, similar to the ones they had last year. I think they got 3 returning guys. And they're active. They run, from sideline to sideline. Make tackles. Fly to the ball. But it's why we come to a school like this. We look forward to it, and we're just gonna strive for greatness each and every week and put our best foot forward.
Yeah, from all the film that I've watched so far, I would say this is their best defense that they had so far. They play very hard. They're very technique sound in what they do, but it just shows that how much better that we have to be as an offense.
For any of you guys have won 6 of the last 7 against them. You guys are undefeated, but it seems like they're getting all the hype right now. All the talk is surrounding them. What do you think of that, and does that play right into your hand? Do you guys feed off of that?
I would say, like it happens every year. They get talked about a lot, but it doesn't really matter. We just have to make sure we go out there and play our game.
For any of you I think it's one of the few Big Ten stadiums you haven't had a win in, largely because you haven't played there the last 2 years. But how nice would it be to kind of add this to the list of Big Ten road stadiums you've won in?
I think it would be really beneficial to us, especially the senior class. If you look back at 2012, that's the only time that we have a class have gotten to play there, play at the Big House, and we weren't able to come out victorious. So it would definitely be big for us, big for this team. We know it's going to be a great environment there. 112+ thousand or however many they're going to be able to squeeze in there. So it'll be big for us in this program to come out with a win.
Connor, I want to follow up on his question. You're undefeated, number 7 in the country, and a 1-touchdown underdog. Does that put a chip on this team's shoulder at all?
Really doesn't take much to have a chip on our shoulder. I mean, pretty much everything that we do, dating back to when we were all freshmen here, I mean, we've always had a chip on our shoulder. It doesn't matter if we're the favorite, if we're the underdog, if we're, favored by 3 touchdowns or we're, underestimated by 3 touchdowns. It doesn't matter. We're always going to go in each and every game with the underdog mentality, that we're going to go out there and prove to everyone why, we deserve the respect that we deserve. And we're just going to go out there and just fight from start to finish.
Donavon here on your right. How have you guys adjusted to all the changes made in the offensive line? And also, have you taken any reps this week at left tackle, and you think it's a possibility that you might line up on the other side of the ball?
Ever since camp, we just started, to rotate guys, from left to right and so on and so forth. But we have some young guys, trying to step up like Haney McGowan and David Beadle. They really done a good job over the past few weeks, and so has Brandon Clemens. I haven't played any left tackle yet this year, but we'll see what happens.
Connor, we were talking about the reasons you come to a place like Michigan State and playing against the best, and talking about how well Michigan and Ohio State are playing. I know rivalry games, a lot of people say throw the records out and, anyone can beat anyone. But are these games better when both teams are playing well, entering them, and you got an undefeated team and Michigan's back to playing well? Is there just something extra?
For sure. Anytime, it doesn't matter if it is a rivalry game or what. But, even going back to when we faced Oregon, they're, a top-ranked team. They were undefeated at the time. We were undefeated. When you play against a team like that, in an environment, like Spartan Stadium with game day there, people elevate their game. Everyone, raises the stakes. Everyone, raises their, playing level. And, you start making plays that you usually wouldn't make in just a normal game. There's things that happen, things that occur in a game like this of this magnitude, for how well they're playing, for how well we're playing, we're undefeated. They have one loss. Game days there. There's just things that happen in a game like that where it usually wouldn't happen in a regular game. So, there's more hype. There's more energy. The crowd's more into it, and guys start to unveil talent that they usually wouldn't unveil in certain situations. And certain guys rise to the occasion, and more guys can emerge and stuff like that in situations like this.
Connor, you haven't played there yet as a starting quarterback at Michigan. Can you what are you going through mentally this week to try and prepare for that, and how much has some of those other environments you've played in gotten you ready for this?
Right. I'm just expecting a very loud, hostile environment. There's no such thing as a perfect football game, and things are going to go wrong, and I'm just trying to, get focused right now as the week goes on, and just try and, picture myself, making plays, visualizing myself making plays. And not being too high, not being too low, and just staying level-headed. In an environment like that, as soon as Michigan makes one big play, the stadium's going to erupt. But we just got to continue to fight forward and fight to the end. So, me right now, it's obviously early. We have pretty much almost a whole week until we play them. A couple more days, but I'm just trying to get mentally focused right now and just visualize myself making plays. And obviously, playing in stadiums like Iowa, playing in stadiums like Nebraska, playing at the Rose Bowl, playing against Ohio State and at Indianapolis when 75-80% of the people there were rooting for Ohio State. So we've played in loud environments before, playing at Oregon. So obviously playing in those type of venues, will have me ready for a venue like this.
For Connor and Darien and anyone else, your head coach makes no bones about how big this rivalry is to him personally and to you guys personally. Do you already see signs this week? I know it's been different, the travel difficulties and everything else, but do you already see signs in him that how different this week is?
I think you're always going to see signs in him and the rest of our coaching staff when this week comes up. You know, we had our normal Tuesday lift this morning, and it took about 30, 45 minutes to even start, moving some weight because Coach Manny had to give his spiel that he gives every year for this game. And that's how it's going to be with all the rest of our coaches. They're fired up for this, ready to go. We came in, Monday morning to watch film from the Rutgers game, and Coach Dressel was saying how he hadn't slept since the night before because he's been up watching film. So you're always going to get a different vibe when this week comes up. And, when we hit that practice field today, it's just going to be something different out there.
Couldn't have said it better.